I'm Dean, I'm the dad.
I'm Laura, I'm the mom.
And I'm Crystalline, I'm the daughter.
And together we are
Family Plot.
Very nice, very nice. I like it. So, welcome to the show. As always, if you want to help us out, a lot of ways you can do that. There's, of course, our Patreon, where you can support us. It's really three teams: Team Bunny, Team Podcast, Team Electric Bill. Doesn't matter where you...
Did you really change it to Team Electric Bill?
No, but I like the idea.
I really do.
But
I do art.
But it's a $1, $3, $5, or $10 monthly donation. And if you can't do something monthly, you can pause it as you need to. Or you can just do a one-time donation through Buy Me a Coffee. Any whole dollar amount will do. You can't do like $1.67 or something like that, but a whole dollar amount will work. If you can do either of those things, if you enjoy the show, please share it on social media. We appreciate that entirely. If not...
And as always, if not...
Keep it to yourself. Now, I want to include a brief announcement. Spreaker lets you opt out of certain ads, and I have, as of yesterday, and then I added one today, opted out of travel ads for Texas and Florida, and today I added Missouri to the list. My reasoning is simple. I have kids that identify as LGBTQ+ and transgender, and I strongly believe in education, and all three states have made it clear they don't like any of those things. So, going forward, you will not hear ads for those states' travel programs on our show, at least until they change a few things. Not that I'm trying to get political, just we may not have a huge audience, we may have a lot of power, but what little I have, I don't want to use correcting for the mistakes of people I'd rather not hang out with. And I'm going to leave it at that, because I don't want to get overly political. That's not our show. So tonight we set the Wayback Machine for 1898. Do you know what the Wayback Machine is, Krista?
Well, it's not ours for one thing. Who told you could steal Mr. Peabody's machine?
The time travel episode?
No. See, I didn't catch it back then, but now I'm telling you, the Wayback Machine does not belong to us.
Oh, well, when Mr. Peabody wants it, he can come and get it. Now, tonight, we set the Wayback Machine for 1898, when the British Empire, looking to connect Uganda with the Indian Ocean, decided to build a railroad from Uganda to the Indian Ocean. This led them to build a railroad bridge over the Tsavo River in Kenya. But they were about to run into a massive series of delays as a pair of lions began hunting the humans in the railroad work camp, terrorizing the workers and, through the papers, the British public, until these lions were shot and killed by an English hunter.
Poor kitties. Tonight,
we look into the situation that has become remembered as the Tsavo man-eaters. But first, Krista is in her corner.
It's not just any corner, it's Krista's corner.
Hello guys, welcome back to my corner. Sorry. Today, I will be talking about clothes. It's weird, yes, I know, but I am really excited about it because I get to rant a little bit, or not rant, I guess. And if it is a rant, it's a good rant. So, I get to rant a little bit about clothes.
Okay.
Clothes can be very expressive of how you are. as a person.
True enough.
They can also be very expensive and cost you lots of money that you have on your person.
Yes, if you decide to buy a lot. Or
depending on what kind of
go to
clothes you
Gucci.
choose to get.
Hey doll, can you give me $100? I need to get a purse at Gucci. No, like, that's the kind of stuff.
Like $100, whatever, buy you a Gucci purse, please.
It wouldn't, but I was supposed to be imitating the voice, not
I got you. Go ahead.
not the money. I'm not about to look on Gucci and see how much a Gucci purse is.
Okay, so clothes. What kind of clothes do you like, Krista? Enlighten us.
I like really cute clothes, but they can be dark at the same time. So like some of my favorite color combos are black and pink.
Like the Hitman, Bret Hart, from the WWE 20 years ago? Something like that. He was called the Pink and Black Attack because that's the colors he wore, was pink and black.
Yeah. And also, what was I in the middle saying?
Color
Colors.
combinations.
Pink and black, that's what you like.
Those are some of my favorite color combinations, yes. But there are also pastel colors, black and white. And I also really like oversized hoodies. Because, yeah, people know why.
People know why? I don't know why.
Other people do.
Okay. Other people know why you like oversized hoodies, but your father doesn't. You're okay with this. Are you as confused as I am?
Not generally, but this is a little head scratchy.
Okay. So, that's what you like. What don't you like?
I'm not that big of a fan of, like, clothes that, like, older people will wear. Like, not you guys, but, like, Grandma wears some cute stuff, not gonna call her out like that, but some of the clothes that she wears, I wouldn't personally wear.
Well, yeah, but Grandma's in her 60s and you're 13. There is kind of a difference there.
And also,
wear the clothes you like.
I would like to point out that any clothes that I buy, we got a lifetime deal. Those are mine forever.
No.
Dad,
I can wear them forever.
No.
We've had this conversation multiple times. When the clothing starts to fall apart, it has to go away.
Exactly.
But that's when it's really comfortable.
No. No, dear.
No, Dad.
Why don't you guys love me anymore?
We do love you.
Okay.
We love you enough to tell you that you're wrong.
But I'm not wrong. At least not about this.
Wrong.
You're so wrong
You're
about
so
this.
wrong about this?
More wrong about this than most things that you may be wrong about. Well,
Like
Krista,
how-
do you have
Like
any...
how Josh Gates isn't your man crush.
Not usually.
Do you have any tips or suggestions or ideas for avid Krista listeners out there?
Okay.
I don't know if there are any, but sounds good.
I hope there are, because some people might just skip this and I feel bad. But, let's see. If you ever see a style and you think, oh, I don't have the right body for it, blah, 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 blah. Don't think that way. Find something that you think looks good and that you think fits that style or suits that style. And try it. Because I promise you, if you find a style that you like and you try it out, I can guarantee you will love it.
Matt Bronger talks about that. Well, okay, Matt Bronger talks about how he he likes young people, and when they're nice to him, he can't help himself. It makes him happy. He was at a shop and he was looking for clothes or whatever, and he saw a Rolex, not even a real Rolex, just a very nice watch that would have been, worn by a gangster rapper in the 80s or 90s. And he told the guy at the counter, "I like this, but I probably couldn't pull it off." And the guy's like, "Dude, you can pull off anything you want." And then, of course, Matt gave him lots of money and said, "We're friends now." So, yeah.
All right, then.
Are you still with us, Krista?
I'm not.
She's moved on.
No.
Do you have any more to add, or?
That's about it for, tips and tricks. I can't really say anything else for tips and tricks about clothes, because you kind of just gotta find that stuff out on your own. You can like a style, and you can think it suits you. And if somebody else says it doesn't, frick them.
Forget them.
Frick them, forget them. They don't deserve your patience. They don't deserve your thought.
Why do you make me beep the show? I don't like putting beeps in the show. All right. So, is that all of your corner, or should I... Okay, so...
That's it in the corner.
All right, so... Thank you, Krista. That was awesome.
Very nice, my Krista.
All right. So, before we talk about the railway and the man-eaters, apparently, we're obliged to discuss a bit of the British colonialism and history.
Uber.
So...
Did you say Uber?
To start off, way back in 1890, in England, which is where the British generally come from, the monarch, of course, was Victoria. The prime minister at the time was Robert Gascoigne Cecil, 3rd Marquis of Salisbury. He was a conservative. And over in Uganda, the situation was a bit of a mess. Local religions were competing against each other. Muslims, Catholics, and Protestants vying for control of the country. In 1888, the leader of the country, Mwanga II, was ousted from power in a coup led by the Muslims, who had put Kalima, a fellow Muslim, in power. It was at this point the Imperial British East Africa Company got involved and helped put Mwanga II back on the throne. Eventually, Mwanga forged a treaty to try and maintain peace between the competing factions, which allowed the Imperial British East Africa Company to work as a part of the kingdom. The Muslims had lost power with Mwanga retaking the throne, as the Catholics and Protestants continued to jostle for supreme power within Uganda. Because of all of this, the IBEAC, or again, the Imperial British East African Company, sent Frederick John Daltrey Lugard, a British soldier, mercenary, and colonial administrator, to Uganda to help keep the peace between the Protestants and the Catholics within the kingdom. Eventually, Mwanga created a treaty with Lugard, placing his lands and people under the protection of the IBEAC. And by 1893, the IBEAC had full support of the British Crown behind it, as the British Empire felt that if it withdrew the British company, not only would the country fall to civil war between the Catholics and the Protestants, but the Germans on the border would push their way into the country.
Once it was weakened
from the Civil War fighting. So finally, due to multiple problems, the IBEAC declared it would no longer be involved in the country. Missionaries led by the Archbishop of East Africa, Alfred Tucker, formally asked the British government to intercede. This led to a representative of the British government already living in Uganda named Sir Gerald Porter to suggest dual chieftainships, with every Ugandan tribe having both Catholic and Protestant chieftains. So shortly thereafter, the Ugandans adopted this practice, and the British adopted Uganda as a protectorate. And thus, with Uganda as a protectorate and Kenya as a British colony, the British began to build a railway across Africa to connect their protectorate to the Indian Ocean. So basically, after all of that work, they wanted to make sure they didn't lose track of anybody, so they decided to lay down some railway.
Well, and to me, it's kind of sad because there is a fourth religion there that isn't listed, and that's the native religion.
Sure.
And like they're basically forced from power because these imported religions have sort of taken all the flock, so to speak. And so they're fighting over countries that religiously they have no claim to.
Right.
So that was always, that's the sadder part for me. Now, before we get into the main story, as it were, I would like to take a moment for a word from our sponsors.
Hey, honey.
Yeah, dear.
I feel sponsored.
Yay, cool.
I also feel sponsored.
Yay. So
now we get to talk about the kitties.
Yes, now we get to talk about the kitties. In 1898, Lieutenant Colonel John Henry Patterson arrived to lead the project building a bridge over the Tsavo River, which is in Kenya. Several hundred mostly Indian workers slept in a camp that ranged over roughly 8 miles or 13 kilometers. So a big area.
Sure.
A few days after Colonel Patterson arrived, 2 maneless male Tsavo lions entered the camp, stalked one of the sleeping men, drug him from his tent by biting his face, and ate him as he lied there screaming.
Wow.
By the time other men heard those screams and came across him, the lions were gone, leaving the grisly remains of their meal lying in front of the tent for all to see. His body and chest were covered in bite marks, which, except for his face, which held only the wounds where it was penetrated by the lion's teeth as he was drugged from the tent. So he's on his back. Just picture this. Face up. He wakes up as the lion bites his face. So what he's seeing as he wakes up is the inside of the
lion's mouth.
Yeah.
Wow.
As he's being pulled from the tent. So that's one of the reasons they didn't hear the screaming for a while.
Because he was screaming into the lion's mouth. Ah!
Which is not a good echo chamber, believe it or not.
Yeah, well, those lions apparently are good for sound absorption.
Now, as you can guess, a lot of people are upset about this.
He might have had, family, friends.
Now, these attacks continued
Drinking buddies.
for several months, as each night the two lions picked a victim, stalked him, and ate him. And I say him because back in the 1890s, women were not working on railroad jobs.
Yeah, probably not.
You might have found one doing the cooking or the cleaning, but chances are they didn't even stay in the camp. They would stay at a nearby village, come in, do what they needed to do, or even just get what they needed to get and then bring in stuff as they needed it. Right. Because, yeah, especially Africa, not big on female rights, or it didn't used to be. Now, today may be quite different, but in the 1890s, they had never heard of such a thing.
I don't know if that's as much Africa. I feel like that's more the British, but I could be wrong. They did have a queen at the time.
It very much it could be the British, too. I'm just saying. Now, and then just as suddenly as the attacks began, they stopped.
Weird.
However, the men began to hear that nearby settlements suffered similar lion attacks. The men continued to work on the bridge for the next several months until the lions returned once more. Now, the lions were more brazen, meaning they were braver. The lions entered the campsite together, each taking a victim, whereas before they had taken
sharing.
One. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they're each taking their own.
Well, nobody hunted them down the first time, so they must have figured it wasn't so big a deal.
Now, the men attempted to scare off the lions with campfires and bomas. Bomas are thorn fences made from whistling thorn trees. And if you look in your notes, I've included a picture of...
They're so pretty.
A whistling thorn tree.
Look at those big old pokey things.
Yes. Well, I want you to see that and then hear what I'm about to add.
Yeah.
So they had these thorn fences made from those trees, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, the lions would either crawl through the bomas or leap over them.
Fun.
To continue their nightly attacks.
Well, yeah.
The district officer, a Mr. Whitehead, which, can I just say, that name amuses the hell out of me, knowing he was almost certainly British. Mr. Whitehead even nearly became prey for one of those beasts.
I see.
He arrived at the Tsavo train station late one evening and was attacked by one of the lions. His assistant, Abdullah, was killed, and Mr. Whitehead escaped with 4 lacerations from the lion's claws running down his back.
Mr. Whitehead totally threw his assistant to those lions. You know he did.
Yes, but... It is also equally possible that Abdullah, tried to distract the lion so his boss could get away.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I'm not feeling it. I feel like poor Abdullah, just, he was like, what do you call that? Collateral damage.
So as the attacks grew, the workers fled the camp, stopping the work upon the Tsavo rail bridge. Now, at this point is when word starts to get to England about these lions. And the British public is up in arms. Why can't you stop these 2 lions from stopping this bridge? Because even though it wasn't actual British citizens, for the most part, getting killed, they were still very upset about it.
Well, sure.
And it was in the papers daily. So we're dealing with a situation that now back home, they're calling for action. You must do something about this lion, which I always find funny because most of the public if you suddenly thrust them in a situation where they had to deal with these problems, they would be as clueless as anyone else.
Well, sure.
You know, if you took John Q to the British public from 1898 and somehow conveyed him to the Tsavo area and said, okay, there's 2 lions eating everyone. Your job? Stop them. I imagine not much would get done.
Well, you know.
You'd probably find the poor guy cowering in a corner. What do you think, Krista?
Or dead.
Or dead.
Probably dead.
Most likely
he's
dead.
He's probably the next meal.
As soon as they smell the human's blood, they're just like, "Oop, time to munch."
So Krista,
Yeah.
if you woke up with a pain in your cheeks, seeing the inside of a lion's mouth,
I'd probably pass back out, and nobody would hear me scream.
Yeah.
So do you want to go to Tsavo?
No, I'm good.
And that's something else, is that most of who's going to hear this podcast is Americans. And your average American, what they know of lions is what they see in the zoo.
Well, sure.
And zoo lions are lions in captivity. They're not threatening. I know multiple people who have been to Africa and seen lions in their natural habitat. And he said, and the ones I've talked to all say it's different, because the look on a lion's face is like, this is my place. Don't go messing about, because we'll have problems. And those problems end with me eating you. So,
sure.
Don't. So, this isn't like, oh, look, the pretty lion from the zoo. No. These are a couple of lions that are quite wild and quite happy to remain so.
Well, yeah.
Hun, do you want to regale us with the next part of the story?
Oh, I guess I could. So, eventually, after the British public, threw a fit and stopped having tea for a day. That's probably a lie, but it sounded funny to me. Eventually, 20 armed sepoys arrived as backup to help hunt the lions, and Lieutenant Colonel Patterson returned to the hunt in earnest. He set several traps and several times attempted to hunt the lions at night from a tree. That seems a little dangerous to me, because don't lions climb trees?
They can, but
I feel like that could be... I mean, obviously, we're telling this story, so he was fairly safe, but it just seems a little iffy. On December 9th, 1898, he shot the first lion. He shot it with a high-caliber rifle from a platform, hitting it in the rear leg. The lion escaped, returning later that evening, seeming to hunt for Patterson, even as Patterson was hunting the lion. A second shot from an even higher caliber rifle hit the creature in the shoulder, penetrating its heart and killing it. It measured 9 feet, 8 inches long from nose to tail, and took 8 men to carry it back from camp. That's a big kitty.
Oh, that's big. You want a cat that big, Krista?
No.
You sure?
No. I don't want a cat.
I don't even want to think about the size of the litter box you would need for that.
Oh my god, we'd have to clean it out even more often than the original ones.
We have to clean it out a lot now, thanks to Shion.
So he got the first one, and it took him a while to find the second one, right?
Yeah, well, it took him even longer to kill the second. Now, you got to understand, he'd been hunting it up to that point, but he just hadn't had any luck. And part of that is how the British hunted lions, because they were big on safaris. So they would build platforms, which I guess are like trees. They call them tree stands now. But they would build these platforms that they would lie on and sight with their rifle. And when they saw the animal they wanted, they'd take a shot at it, which I feel like if you're just hunting isn't fair. Like, you have to give the animal a shot to get you.
Sure.
I feel like that's fair. If you're going to go hunting, fine, but, give the animal a chance. Otherwise, I can't remember the comic's name I'm kind of borrowing this from, but it's kind of like going up to someone you don't know and just punching them in the face and they look at you. Didn't I tell you we're boxing?
Not so much.
I think hunting is very much like that, though. The animal doesn't know it's a sport.
That's true. That's part of the reason why we're not hunters. But I don't have a problem with people who hunt for sport, especially things like deer and things that if we did not hunt them, respectfully, that there would be more problems than not.
Mm-hmm.
My issue is the terrible people who don't do things the way that they're supposed to. But
right.
I personally couldn't kill a wild animal for food.
Yeah, I would prefer not to kill animals most of the time either.
Yeah.
I can't kill an animal.
Anyway.
So on December 29th, 1898, he finally got around to killing the second lion. For those of you that are mathing, 20 days just about is what it took. 3 more weeks, basically.
He let it have a final Christmas.
Oh. That's messed up. I'm not going to say anything, but that's messed up.
You said something.
I'm not going to say anything else.
Okay, he had hit it with one shot from a rifle near a platform Patterson had built near a goat that the lion had killed. The lion managed to escape. 11 days later, he shot it several more times with a second rifle, though the lion disappeared in the darkness. He found it the following day and shot it in the chest and head with a third rifle. Patterson claimed it died gnawing on a tree branch, still trying to reach him.
That sounds a little bit like,
Hey, I can't decide. I'm 50-50 on it. Yes, it very well could be something he threw in. What was like Colonel Bragg?
Yeah.
There was a show on, and I can't remember the name of the show. Maybe it was just part of Bullwinkle. I don't know.
Sure.
But part of it was this character, Colonel Bragg, would tell these stories
that were just ridiculously blown out of proportion.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, how he by himself would take on whole armies and things like that.
Sure, like you do.
And that does come from a certain British style of storytelling.
Sure.
There's a certain amount of that within British culture.
Like, what's his face in the Disney Pocahontas, the guy who was running the East Indies ship, the guy who came across with
David Ogden Stiers?
What, I can't remember his name. I don't know.
Anyway. No, that's the guy that did his voice.
Yeah.
That Colonel
whatever.
Charles from MASH, Winchester.
Yeah, yes, that guy.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what the character name was. It's been a few years since I saw the movie. Caitlin could tell us. Blue could tell us because Blue loves that movie. Blue has seen that movie like 28,000 times.
What movie?
Pocahontas.
You watched it so much.
What is the name of the guy with the little dog?
The dog?
The guy who owns the dog. The bad guy.
Hang on.
Like Ratigan or something like... It's not Ratigan because that's Oliver, but...
Blue, can you come here?
Son, we have a question for you. Anyway, like him, he was a terrible person.
Right.
But he, very much was over the top in, telling them glorious stories about the gold and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so while we're waiting on Blue, if he ever comes, because he probably won't, because children.
Right.
Once the lion was gone.
So once the lion was gone,
Ratcliffe.
Radcliffe, thank you. See, I was close.
Okay, Radcliffe it is. So yeah, like Radcliffe, he's that sort of over-the-top storytelling was in vogue then, and actually almost expected. You didn't just tell the story; you enhanced it.
Big story, yeah.
Right. So, but also, animals and people can die hard.
Because we've talked about some animals before that kind of held grudges, and was that mountain lion or something?
It was a tiger.
The tiger that tracked the hunter, and
right. So I don't necessarily disagree with the idea of it dying gnawing on a tree branch. I don't know if it was still trying to get to him or just in its death throes. But
Sure.
He certainly cast at the very best. He certainly cast the story in the best light for him
himself. Absolutely. So once both of the lions had been destroyed, is as polite a way as I can put it, because really, at the end of the day, while the public was a little bit outraged about it, at the end of the day, the lions were doing what lions do, and they were coming in and tearing up the lions' homeland. So you think, what would you do if someone was, tearing through your living room with loud, obnoxious workers and metal and wood and animals and noise, and you might get a little testy. You might eat some people. It's a thing. So anyway.
And I hadn't even considered that.
Yeah.
Because there are some definite possibilities as to why.
Sure.
But, yeah.
I mean, yeah. But anyway, so once both the lions were gone, work resumed shortly thereafter on the bridge over the Tsavo River. The bridge was finished in February of 1899. After it was all said and done, Lord Salisbury, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, addressed the House of Lords on the subject of the Tsavo man-eaters. I'm so smart. I talked about him when we started.
Yep.
I hadn't even caught that he was in here later in our information. So this is a small excerpt of his address. The whole of the works were put to a stop because a pair of man-eating lions appeared in the locality and conceived a most unfortunate taste for our workmen. At last, the laborers entirely declined to carry on unless they were guarded by iron entrenchments. Of course, it is difficult to work a railway under these conditions, and until we found an enthusiastic sportsman to get rid of these lions, our enterprise was seriously hindered. After 25 years as Patterson's floor rugs, the lion skins and skulls were sold to the Field Museum of Natural History in Chicago, Illinois for $5,000. The skins arrived in very poor condition. The lions were recreated and put on permanent display.
I love how they say recreated, like these two lions were just dead and now they're frolicking in the Fields Museum of Natural History in Chicago. No.
They made lion dollies to look like those lions, what they thought they would have looked like.
Right, right.
Like they do.
Yeah, like
That's
they do.
what they do. Yeah.
And Chicago isn't that far away.
No, it's not. Maybe we should go and see the Tsavo lions. You want to go see the stuffed Tsavo lions? Chicago's not that far.
About an 8-hour drive.
Yeah, it's not that far.
Can we see the stuffed ones and not the alive ones?
Well, yeah, the alive ones have been dead since 1889, 1898.
Over 100 years.
Yeah, over 100 years.
Unlikely they will attack.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they're not going to come after you.
I'll go see the lions. Are there actual stuffed animals?
Yep, they're
Is there a gift shop?
What do you call that? What do you call
I'm
that?
sure there's a gift shop. It's a museum.
Yeah. Oh, when do museums not have gift shops? Hello?
Some museums do not have gift shops.
Most museums have gift shops.
According to Ian, this place is nice.
I want to go
Did
see
we
it,
check in with Ian?
and then I'll save up money for one of the lions.
No, Ian just went to Chicago some years ago with his sister Gwen.
Oh, yeah.
And he had said that he really liked the Field Museum of Natural History. Now, I didn't know about the Tsavo lions then, so I didn't ask him about him, and he didn't say anything. He just said the museum is very nice. Right. So from that, I would have to assume it has a gift shop somewhere.
Well, sure.
If it has, restaurants and all this other stuff.
So do you have more information about how many people the lions actually ate here?
Ish.
Okay.
Because it's not real clear. How many people did the lions eat? Well, Patterson made many claims as to the number of victims claimed by the Tsavo man-eaters, the largest of which was 135 people. However, modern studies claim that an analysis of their skeletons, because I guess there's some sort of analysis they can do on which will show them the DNA of what was consumed and how that gets put away in the body.
That's interesting. I have to do some more research on that. That seems...
And so their analysis, which was just conducted in 2005, said it was more like 35 people or thereabouts.
Well, that probably sounds more likely.
Well, okay. Couple of things on that, though. One, Patterson, actually his ancestors have said that Patterson himself always said that the lion ate more African workers than Indian, and their diets would be different. So it could... That number could still be wrong.
Sure.
Apparently.
Sure, okay. Fair enough. I mean, they ate more than... We could safely say they ate more than 10 people. And really, if you're trying to build a railroad, I can see why that was an issue.
Yes. Now, they may have killed more victims than that and been able to eat them due to being discovered by the workmen or being fired at or whatever.
Well, yeah, because, they're not going to say, they're just having a meal, leave them be. Probably not going to happen.
Right. And remember, they were hunting other settlements at the time.
Sure.
So... because we know they left the railroad camp for several months to eat at these other settlements.
Right.
Why did the lions eat people? Some claim an outbreak of rinderpest, which is a cattle plague, in 1898 devastated their food source and forced them to find other sources.
Well, hunger can make a person or a kitty do a lot of crazy things. We've seen our cats when they get hungry.
Our cats are crazy anyway.
Well, that's true, but when they get hungry, they get really weird.
Now, some claim that slavers traveling in the area were often washed away by the flooding Tsavo River, allowing lions to eat their corpses, giving them a taste for humans. And for those that see lions as these noble hunters from, the Lion King or whatever, that's a beautiful theory, nowhere near truth. In fact, what happened more often than not is because if you go back to the 70s and 80s and Wild Kingdom, when they would show lions, right, you would see all these hyenas gathered on the outskirts, they're just waiting to go in and, clean up after the lions. Problem is that lions are lazy. Or at least male lions are.
Well, yeah.
And so they'll eat whatever they can get their hands on. Sure. And if they see, let's say, a bunch of hyena who have just taken down a wildebeest because they can and do, they don't have any problem chasing the hyenas off and eating the wildebeest themselves.
Well, sure.
And then the hyenas stand around going, man, I wish I could punch them in the nose. I don't like it when the lions pick on me.
I like your hyena, honey. That was good.
Well, you know. Now, others claim that damage to one of the lion's teeth caused the lions to lack the ability to hunt properly. But Patterson himself called this claim ridiculous, as he had shot one of the lion in the teeth when it came at him. Now, Dr. Bruce Patterson, however, found that one of the lions suffered from severe dental disease. Because, let's face it, there's no such thing as a dentist wandering through Africa going, "How are you, Mr. Lion? Brush up your teeth. Yeah, do you need me to floss for you?"
Yeah.
Look, there's a wildebeest in there. Where'd that come from? So...
Man, I hate it when the wildebeest gets stuck between your teeth.
I know, right?
Wow.
So, dental disease is common among animals, especially as they get older.
Well, sure.
Because they don't have any way to...
They don't brush, and Crest doesn't make, antelope-flavored mouthwash.
Right. So... he found one of the lions suffered from severe dental disease and simply would not have been able to administer the powerful kill bite that these lions use to suffocate and kill their prey. Because lions usually finish their prey off with a powerful bite to the throat that crushes the windpipe and eventually kills the prey.
Okay, but my question on that is, for an antelope that weighs 600 pounds, that makes total sense. But if we're talking about some scrawny worker hanging out in the middle of the African savannah trying to lay rail tracks that probably weighs 150 pounds, and most of that is muscle, who's exhausted from working all day and is sleeping like the dead, and the lion goes, look, a snack. It's not going to take anywhere near as much to kill that dude as it's going to take to kill an antelope that you're taking down running through the savannah. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Well, and that's one of the reasons that that scientists think that the animals did this, is because the one lion, there was no way it could have hunted its usual prey. It simply could not have delivered the kill bite with the dental disease it had.
Sure.
It would have given it too much pain.
Yeah.
It would have been too painful for the lion to do. So the one lion was hunting humans probably because compared to anything else, they were easy prey. So it's like a variation of the old rogue shark theory. It's like a rogue lion theory.
Sure.
But if that's the reason why the first one did it, why did the second?
They were hanging out.
Because the first one taught it how.
Well, he was a wingman. That's what you got.
I'm just saying, lions are lazy. And so when this one lion found a solution to its dental difficulties, the other lion just like, wait, they're that easy? I'll come with you.
It's pretty much. They were hanging out under the trees talking about it one day. He's like, dude, there's all these skinny human things over there. They don't taste too bad. They're a little bit like elk. They're small, but that's okay.
And if they're right about the slavers giving them a taste for humans, then it's not a big jump for them to go, okay, there's no humans in the water today. Wait, there's a bunch over there. On top of that, that first guy, he gets pulled out of his tent. Like, lions are normally capable. That's why they do the suffocation bite, is so you can't call for help. And so normally that's what they would do, is just crunch, yum, yum, and the guy would never get a word out.
Yum, yum. Fair enough.
But
because this one had dental issues, then he couldn't do that, and that's why the guy was able to shout and possibly alert others.
Right. So...
all right.
Anyway, so the Tsavo lions, why'd they do it? They were hungry, and humans were on the menu in 1898.
Yep. 1890 even.
So, Krista, any thoughts? Anything you want to add? Anything you have questions about?
I don't really have anything. Just lion.
Don't be lying now.
She's lying to us.
I ain't lying.
What about you, babe?
Haven't I talked enough?
You have. You've talked a lot. I'm
I'm torn. I get it. Settlement's important. But at the same time, I kind of feel bad for the lions. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't lying. I feel bad for the lions. They was just out there doing their lion thing. They just lying around, and all of a sudden these people show up.
Yeah, well, it's like
I'm feeling my inner druid and saying, man, you got to let the lions lie.
Well, it's like the episode we did with Dale where we talked about the tiger that went after the poacher, right?
Yeah.
After he did that, they had no choice but to kill the tiger.
Well, yeah.
Because he killed a person.
Right.
And so I feel like once something starts eating people, there is no way you can justify leaving it roaming the planet and quite alive, Well,
I mean, I'm not saying I get that. I feel bad because they were there minding their own stuff. And...
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. It's like, yeah, okay, I get that. We're settling it, and you gotta do what you gotta do to protect your family and stuff. But maybe that's how the lion felt about it, and who's gonna stand up for them? Nobody. So here I am talking for the lions. Rawr, 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 rawr.
Last I checked,
a long day.
Last I checked, we do have some listens in Africa. I very much doubt any of them are lions. I very much doubt I'm going to get an email. Chester Lyon here. I want to take the time to thank Laura for her objective view of the lions in Tsavo. Surely we've kept track of them.
Maybe not, but, PETA might appreciate my side of the story. I'm just saying. Not that I think that PETA is listening to our shows, but you just don't know.
Yeah, I like PETA, People for the Eating of Tasty Animals.
Yeah, that's what it stands for.
So that's our show.
That was a good show.
I feel like it was.
I feel like it was as well.
Thank you once again for listening. We hope you've enjoyed the show.
We hope everyone enjoyed the show. I hope that some of my class listened to the show.
I hope so too.
Class was interested in our show today. That was kind of cool.
Thanks as always to Bill Barrett, who does our theme music. And that last name is spelled Behrendt. Bill Barrett at sbcglobal.net. That's how you reach him if you need music for a project or even just someone to, play at your wedding or whatever. He can do that too.
Can he?
Yeah, he can. He's a musical genius and he's mobile.
Wow. How about that? Good to know.
Also, thanks to
Paige Elmore?
Yeah, Paige Elmore.
Paige Elmore, who helped our Crystal with the art.
Yep.
Thank you, Paige.
Also, Paige has a show called Reverie True Crime. Don't miss it. Very, very good show.
It is a good show.
Thank you, Paige.
Thank you, Paige.
Thanks to Aaron Gnerk of the Big Dumb Fun Show, who continues to promote us locally. Thank you, Aaron. Thanks to William Shatner, yes, the original Captain James T. Kirk himself, and the show Unexplained for introducing me to the Tsavo Man-Eaters. Full disclosure, I had seen The Ghost in the Darkness some years ago.
Yeah.
But I
didn't connect the two.
I didn't realize that it was based on a true story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
wow.
Yeah, and that is like The Ghost in the Darkness is probably the best known movie based on this, but there are others. There's all sorts of books written about it as well. So if you want more information, you can certainly find it. Join us next week as we look into a local haunting at the River Scene Mansion. That was one of your suggestions, I believe.
Was it? Okay, cool.
All right. Well, that's all I got. Bye!
Bye.